Yo, this is Revengeboyz here, bringing you another UU match against Oh Shiny. I can't be bothered to do some intro stuff, so I'm gonna skip right to it. And yeah, this is it. So I go straight into Dope Dragon. She goes into her light speed, and I go for the U-turn just to get that super effective damage and get the free switch out. And I go into Loyal. She sets up rocks, which is bad for me, as most of my stuff are weak to it. She goes into Chandelier and I go for the Flare Blitz, stupidly forgetting she had that. So I switch out into Mantine. And back in these days I did use a Mantine, but now I just thought, nah, Mantine in UU is failed, so I just stitched it. So she goes into Togekiss and I go for the Toxic. And yeah, anyway, she goes for the S. That's probably getting hacks. I go for the Skull just to get a bit of damage off. She goes for Thunder Wave, which I found pretty weird, but luckily she does get the hacks. No, she doesn't get the hack. I go for the Toxic, and I tried to predict something to come in, but nothing came in. She just kept that in, which was quite a shame. So anyway, she goes into Umbreon here, and I get Para Hacks, which is a shame. And then next turn she goes for the Heal Bell, which is annoying because I didn't expect it to be that set, and I misclicked there as I was half awake at the time, which is a bit funny. And then she goes for the Wish. It's a wish on something. Go for the Toxic again just to annoy that Umbreon and delay it further. And I think I was going for the Toxic here again, but I got Para Hacks, which was just so unlucky, and I was just like, come on, hacks now? You gotta be kidding me. Anyway, she goes for the Taunt and I can't Toxic now, so I'm not shit at this point. And she sets up one layer of spikes. I'm like, oh my god. And she goes for the Taunt again, but I'm like, no, I'm not falling for that this time. Air Slash, which does pretty much nothing. Getting that leftovers recovery, sets up another layer of spikes. Go for the Air Slash again. And sets up one more layer. At this point I'm like, oh god, my switch ability is limited very well, as she's got 3 layers of spikes and Stealth Rock. She goes for the Taunt again. I try and nasty plot, but somehow she knew I didn't have an attacking move there. So it's like, oh come on. And she goes into her Togekiss here. Go for the Air Slash. So I go back into Dope Dragon, predicting a T-Wave, which I'm right. So she switches out again into her Hitmontop. And I go for the Outrage, strangely, as I didn't have a clue what to do at this point, because I had no Xatu at the time. So she goes for a close combat, which I found very weird. I was like, I would have went for a Toxic there or something status just to remove my Flygon route basically. So like she just kept that in and death foddered it, which was pretty much of a waste. Anyway, she goes into Togekiss again. I'm confused at Outrage, but I forgot at this point that I was on -1 from the Intimidate, and obviously the Togekiss would live. So she goes for the Rooster and gets all that health back. I'm like, oh god. I go for -1 Outrage, which would do pretty much shit. She goes for the Air Slash and kills off my Flygon. I'm going to Arcanine. She switches out, probably predicting the Wild Charge. And I go for the Wild Charge. Should do a fair amount, it does do a fair amount. I'm going to go for the Wild Charge again and kill off that Deoxys D, because it's done enough damage as it is. Anyway, she goes into her Chandelure here, and I switch out to my special wall known as Mantine. She goes for the Shadow Ball, which won't do much to my Mantine. She switches out again to Kingdra. At this point I was going for the Toxic, but it just didn't move, and I was just like, oh god, didn't move, not now. Anyway, I go into my Troubles Nidoqueen, making her first appearance in the match. She goes for a Substitute. At this point I'm like, no, I have to stop her from setting up on me. So she goes for a Dragon Dance, and I go for the Roar just to get that out of there, because it's going to cause too much trouble. Anyway, it goes into Umbreon here, again racking up the damage, and I set up on her now. And she kills the Umbreon, but it doesn't matter at this point, as I'm going to now set up my Toxic Spikes just to status everything that doesn't float in somewhat way. And anyway, she goes for the Wish here, and she switches out into Togekiss, and I'm like, nope, I have to roar that out as well, so it doesn't get any of that health back. And it goes back into Umbreon, which I was like, yes, back into this thing, that's great. As long as it's not Togekiss, I'm happy. So anyway, I layer one more layer. And here, I should have predicted this. I shouldn't have roared at this point in time. I should now keep it in. Should have went for the safe Earth Power and probably get some kind of special defense drop. But anyway, it goes into Chandelure, and it does poison it and get that 25% off it, which is pretty effective. But then the health comes back on there, and obviously that's going to be a bit of a problem. So she goes for the Fire Blast. It's going to do a lot of damage on Nidoqueen. I did invest some special defense. I go for the Earth Power. It won't kill, as I have Poison Point and not Sheer Force. So anyway, the Chandelure is about to die. Nothing more it can do. Switching to Arcanine, not knowing that there's rocks and stuff will kill me, which is unfortunate, because I could have used that and close combated as much as possible. So anyway, I go into my Dusclops known as Boo, just to start doing some damage. And anyway, she goes for the Air Slash and gets hacks, which is annoying, and I think she haxes it all the way down, which is just so unfair. And just like, oh, Togekiss, why? Eventually I do get the Toxic, which is alright at this point, even if it does roost and miss status, and the Umbreon will have to waste a turn to unstatus it, which is kind of alright for me. So she goes for the Air Slash again. Obviously on 8 HP it will kill, and the leftovers hit actually saves her. And here is where I played a bit stupid actually, because I thought she was faster than me, and I went for the nasty pill. I could have Air Slashed her, and she goes for the Thunder Wave, which is really bad at this point. And yeah, that Togekiss is dead. And she sends in Kingdra, and it gets poisoned, but it has a Lumberry, and I was just like, Lumberry? Oh, you have to be kidding. Sets up a sub, I try and break it, I get Parahax. This gives her time to set up one Dragon Dance. But I go for the Heal Bell just to get that status off in case of any more status. I just can't be bothered to deal with it anymore. She goes for a Dragon Dance again. Go for the Air Slash just to break off that sub. Switch out just to try and get poison damage on this thing, but unfortunately the 30% didn't happen, and Troubles died, and she gets a crit as well, which is even more funny. And I'm going to Mantine here, hoping for the 2-turn Outrage, but that doesn't happen, as she still continues her rampage. and that will be the game to her. So good game, oh shiny, and I hope to entertain my fans more. Revengeboyz out.